Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Like after game two, a couple guys described the offense in the fourth quarter as stagnant. You obviously have preached pace and cutting, pace and decision making. You know, where do you see your guys with that in that regard? How their pace is over the last 2 games?
Yeah, our pace is pretty good up until the fourth quarter. You know, our offensive rating is pretty high. I could have held moving around a little bit before. There were some opportunities for us to what we call it summertime, when a play breaks down, we get the summertime the right way, and we didn't do it. So we have to be better in those situations starting with me.
You've said before that you like to get close to 43s up per game or more. And I know toward the end of the regular season that had dropped a little bit. And in the playoffs, you guys are like just under 30. Is it the way you're tracking sprays? Have you liked the spray opportunities so far in the playoffs? And why do you think it is that the 3-point attempts are gone? Is it just part of playoff basketball?
Yeah, and you know, if you watch the games, you know, closely, you'll see that they're fanning out when we're touching the paint, and so the opportunity is to score in the paint, not necessarily spraying. And we, you know, I like to get more sprays. We continue to preach touching the paint and try to spray it, but obviously you have to take what the defense gives you. If the defense takes away spray, then you gotta go to something else. But our floor has to be spaced the right way in order to have some success. And at times it was, at times it wasn't. But like I said, through the first 3 quarters offensively, even though we didn't get the sprays that I like, I like the way we played.
Mike, Rich was at, I think, 18 minutes last game, and around there in game 1. I know they hacked him as the rest of his minutes and his rotations and everything else. I'm curious if that's the area you want him around during the playoffs, or if, you know, with it not being the regular season, no more back-to-backs, if there's a goal to keep that number higher.
No, I mean, you want it higher, you know, but the only way it's going to be higher is if there's 2 ways. You play both Mitch and Cat together, or you play Cat less. And, you know, because the combination of the 2 right now hasn't been great. And so I'm choosing to not play them together right now during the series a lot because of the matchups and stuff like that. So it's just, at the end of the day, it's a choice. But I'd love Mitch to play 25 minutes, and I'd love Cat to play, you know, 32, 34. But then you have to deal with those other 2 things that I was talking about.
Mike, without giving away too much, the conversation around the switching and the screen action is so much part of the fabric of the NBA. But we've seen at times where guys will like advance switch to avoid the target switch. Are you talking about?
Yeah, bump switch.
Right. Okay. So the bump switch, like, is that a game plan thing? Is it a call thing? Like, as we get into the flow of this series, it seems like it's so heavily predicated on the communication on the defensive side. Like, how do you sort of navigate that in it?
So you're talking bump switch for us on defense, or bump switch for them on defense?
No, for you guys on defense.
Okay, so if you watch, they're basically just running a high pick and roll. So they run everybody flat to the baseline, and as you're coming down the floor, and so it's hard to bump switch because if you bump switch off of the kill, as you're leaving him and you're bringing a guy up, he's going to be open for a quick pass and shot. It's easier to bump switch if the action's down the floor where everybody else is, and they're bringing a guy up, they're bringing a player up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if Derek and I are here, and we're coming this direction, the basket is there, we're coming this direction, and you plus 2 other guys are along the baseline, we're coming in transition to bring somebody, because they can run anything.
Right.
And just to assume that they're going to run a high pick and roll with those 2 guys and say, hey, you come up and you take them. As he's leaving, somebody has a chance to be open. And get a little bit more technical. they're bringing CJ up on the loaded side, and they're bringing Alexander up on the single side most of the time where Cat is. So you be bump switching Jalen, which isn't good. You know.
Mike, last year this team played so well on the road in the early rounds. I know you weren't here, but what is your philosophy in terms of what makes a team a good road team? What are the qualities that help that?
I mean, you got to stick to what you do. You got to be physical on the road. You got to embrace the details. You got to be physical on the road. You got to box out. You can't send them to the free throw line, and you got to take care of the basketball. So you have to win the possession game on the road. And if there's a 50-50 ball down on the ground, you have to go get it.
All right, last one.
Mike, with rotations during the series, how much are you looking at adjusting game to game? I know in game you adjusted,
Yeah.
but between games, how much are you open to adjust? Some coaches want to stick with what they have. Some coaches are more open. I want to know where you were in terms of that scale.
No, at this point in time, you got to be open to everything and anything. And, you know, as you guys know, it's not just to answer the question, it's never a dictatorship with me. So I'm constantly thinking about it as well as you know, everybody else that's involved, from my assistants and even giving the players some ownership.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you guys.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.